Despite being one of the funniest people on TV, Mayim Bialik's life outside of the cameras has been marked by tragedy, mental health struggles, and public backlash. The Big Bang Theory was undoubtedly a great experience for Mayim Bialik. It not only made her a household name around the country, turning her into a valuable and desirable television star, but it also made her a lot of money. By the time the show ended in 2019, she was earning $425,000 an episode. However, that doesn't mean her time on the series was always positive. On her podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, the actor spoke about her difficulty dealing with anxiety while filming The Big Bang Theory. Despite taking precautions and undergoing treatments such as therapy, the anxiety that she suffered during shoots was debilitating and often stopped her from being able to perform. She said, "I've had this a handful of times when working on Big Bang Theory when there was a certain way they wanted a line delivered, and I was like, oh, okay, I got that. I'll do that in the next take. And I do it, but it's still not right. And sometimes it's like the audience isn't laughing. You know it's not funny." 2012 was an important year for Mayim Bialik. She began to receive widespread recognition for her portrayal of Amy Farrah Fowler on The Big Bang Theory, and was even nominated for an Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series. However, it was also a tough year in her personal life, with the actor being involved in a serious car accident that left her with a severely injured hand. The incident itself was significant enough to require attendance by paramedics and firefighters, with Bialik telling Vanity Fair that it was a bad accident, but it could have been far worse. Her maimed hand didn't stop her from getting straight back to work, though, and she returned to the set of The Big Bang Theory as soon as she was allowed to by medical staff. She said, "It's a testament to how much I love my job because I went right back to work. Jim Parsons and Melissa Rauch are my buddies, and I wanted to be with my buddies."
You look beautiful.
Of course I do! I'm a princess and this is my tiara!
One specific moment from her time on The Big Bang Theory stands out for Mayim Bialik as particularly painful to film. Although Sheldon and Bialik's character Amy became one of television's most popular couples, the pair were certainly unconventional, and it was unclear whether they would actually ever get married. That's exactly what happened at the end of season 11 when the two tied the knot after years of will they or won't they storylines. Marriages are supposed to be a celebration of love, and weddings a happy occasion. What fans saw on screen reflected that, yet things were not so thrilling behind the scenes. Speaking in a blog post on Grok Nation, the actor explained that posing as a joyful bride was difficult because 5 years earlier, she had separated from her own husband. She wrote, "As a divorced woman, it's hard to revisit that moment and those decisions." But it wasn't only her own romantic history that made shooting the wedding scene difficult. Bialik also revealed that she suffered from several infections around the same time that forced her to take a step back from physical activity and work. These illnesses required antibiotic treatment and ultimately led to her gaining weight and feeling unattractive. She said, "Even though everyone said I looked beautiful, I didn't feel completely beautiful." Following her successful stint on The Big Bang Theory, Mayim Bialik had a starring role in the Fox sitcom Call Me Kat. Based on a British comedy known as Miranda, it tells the story of a 39-year-old woman who quits teaching to open up a cat cafe as she tries to find happiness. Some of the other cast members included Kyla Pratt as waitress Randy and Leslie Jordan as the head chef Phil. The 67-year-old Jordan died on October 24, 2022. According to reports, he was on his way to the set of the show for filming when his car collided with a building in Hollywood due to a medical episode that was later described as a sudden cardiac dysfunction. His death shocked both his fans and co-stars. Speaking on The Jennifer Hudson Show, Bialik confirmed that the cast and crew for Call Me Kat found out about his death while on the set.
You know, it was a sudden thing. We were all at work and waiting for him to show up at work, so it was very, very, very complicated.
The last decade has brought the sexual abuse and exploitation of women in Hollywood into focus, shining a light on a massive problem within the television and movie industries. The issue came to the public's attention more prominently in 2017, when the Harvey Weinstein scandal exposed just how widespread the problem was and led to the Me Too movement. Remarking on the disgraced producer in an op-ed article for the New York Times, Mayim Bialik confirmed that despite being disgusted by his actions, she wasn't shocked to discover that a leading Hollywood figure would behave in such a way. Writing about her own experiences, the actor discussed seeing men in authority behave in similar ways. Feeling that she had to protect herself from sexual harassment in the workplace, Bialik detailed some of the ways that she worked to ensure that she would not be subjected to such behavior. She wrote, "I still make choices every day as a 41-year-old actress that I think of as self-protecting and wise. I have decided that my sexual self is best reserved for private situations with those I am most intimate with. I dress modestly. I don't act flirtatiously with men as a policy." Mayim Bialik's New York Times op-ed led to a flurry of criticism from feminist groups and others on social media. The main point of contention surrounded her decision to avoid harassment by behaving in a conservative manner or dressing more modestly. The actor was clearly aware that the article may have been controversial, as she attempted to mitigate what she was saying and make it clear that she was still blaming men for their behavior. She wrote, "In a perfect world, women should be free to act however they want, but our world isn't perfect. Nothing, absolutely nothing, excuses men for assaulting or abusing women. But we can't be naive about the culture we live in." Many people quickly criticized Bialik, pointing out that sexual desire is not the only motive behind this kind of harassment, with predators also wanting power and control. Others were offended that the actor seemed to be implying that women had some responsibility for the way abusers acted. Just a few days later, Bialik apologized for the hurt she had caused with her op-ed, although this only happened after initially saying that her words had been twisted beyond their intended meaning.
The only people who are responsible is the predators who are committing those horrendous acts.
In 2021, Mayim Bialik opened up for the first time about the fact that she has an eating disorder. Talking to author Glennon Doyle on her podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, the actor spoke about her experiences with anorexia and binge eating. Inspired to talk about her eating disorders by Doyle, Bialik went into detail about having to cope with overeating and heavily restricting her diet. She said, "This is the first time I've ever talked about it because people are like, well, why are you so overweight? Well, because I'm a compulsive overeater in addition to being an anorexic and restrictor." During the conversation, it became clear that the eating disorders may have originated because Bialik faced a lot of pressure about her weight due to her acting career. Later in the discussion, Bialik confirmed that she had been in recovery for 2 years after seeking help for the eating disorders that she suffered with for years. This included cutting out caffeine and alcohol as she attempted to improve her own mental health. Eating disorders are not the only mental health condition that Mayim Bialik has had to deal with throughout her life. The actor also has obsessive-compulsive disorder. Due to the fact that many people feel embarrassed by OCD, a large proportion of people with the condition do not seek help or get any form of treatment. Speaking about OCD on Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, she said that the condition is not just about liking things to be a certain way or being a control freak, but rather a way to alleviate anxiety.
The compulsions are typically actions that are done to dispel the anxiety from the obsessions.
These obsessions can be any form of intrusive thought that typically revolves around her questioning herself and believing she has done something wrong. The actor also posted a video on social media to address the intrusive thoughts she has due to OCD and how they affect her daily life. Before reaching the age of 30, Mayim Bialik married businessman Mike Stone in 2003. The pair met while studying at UCLA, with Mike even converting to Judaism so that they could marry. They were wed in Pasadena with a Jewish ceremony and a Victorian theme, where the actor wore a vintage wedding dress. Over the course of the next decade, Stone and Bialik had 2 sons, although the relationship eventually broke down. After 9 years of marriage, Bialik revealed that the pair had decided to divorce. After acknowledging the sadness that divorce has on children, Bialik announced that the priority for the former couple was their 2 sons. With that in mind, the two have remained on somewhat friendly terms. In 2018, while going through another painful breakup, Bialik outlined how she and Stone had spent Thanksgiving together for the sake of the children.
It only strengthens my kids' lives to have all of the people they are related to together for significant events.
The situation was awkward, however, as Stone was living with his new girlfriend at the time. Bialik wrote on Grok Nation, "It was our first time doing this kind of meal together, and I would be lying if I didn't say I was nervous." Over the last few years, Mayim Bialik has been outspoken about various issues. These have included everything from mental health to family life, with the actor writing books, running a blog, and hosting a podcast to talk about these topics. While much of her content has been well received, some of it has caused controversy, particularly her views on parenting and childbirth. Speaking to Self magazine, Bialik discussed the positive aspects of natural births and noted that certain people sometimes look down upon C-sections. Some of her comments caused outrage. Meanwhile, her thoughts about home births and hormonal birth control also drew heavy criticism, as they were not based on scientific evidence or consensus. Also problematic for many was Bialik's advocacy for attachment parenting, such as encouraging parents to sleep in the same bed as their children. It's something which has been said to lead to an increased risk of death for babies. Mayim Bialik has also proven controversial with her remarks about vaccines. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the actor revealed that her family was non-vaccinating and that this decision was made based on their own research and discussions with her pediatrician. Around the same time, the actor also supported the work of Dr. Bob Sears, who argues that parents should not be forced to vaccinate their children. In more recent years, Bialik has taken a less controversial approach to vaccines when talking about them publicly. Keen to stress that she was not an anti-vaxxer, she confirmed that she would get the COVID-19 vaccine when it was available and that her children would also be vaccinated against the disease. Yet she still seems to harbor some skepticism of vaccines in general, telling Yahoo, "I have a lot of questions about the vaccine industry, as do a lot of people. I have a lot of questions about the profits involved." Mayim Bialik was raised in New York by her Jewish parents and took an active role in her religion. While she was initially part of the Reform Jew movement, the actor now considers herself to be modern Orthodox Jewish. It is this strong connection to her religion that meant that when her father died in 2015, she spent an entire year grieving him. She told Yahoo Entertainment, "There's a year of grieving in traditional Judaism. After that year, it's kind of like a veil lifts." The grief didn't mean that she entirely stopped working or doing other things, but it did dominate her thinking during that time. She added, "Death is not difficult, but dying is. There is nothing harder than nursing your parent as they die." Taking inspiration from these real-life events, Bialik created the film As They Made Us, which starred Dustin Hoffman, Simon Helberg, and Diana Agron. If you or anyone you know needs help with an eating disorder, visit the National Eating Disorders Association website or contact NEDA's live helpline at 1-800-931-2237. You can also receive 24/7 crisis support via text. Send NEDA to 741-741.